The alarm on Dr. Allison Ward's desk beeped loudly, but she barely noticed it. She had been awake for nearly 20 hours straight, working in her lab deep within NASA's Advanced Physics Research Center. Her eyes were fixed on the small, silver device in front of her. It was about the size of a shoebox, covered in a complex array of circuits and tiny blue lights that pulsed gently. "I think we've got it this time," she said softly, more to herself than to her assistant. Dr. Ward was 42 years old, with short brown hair that she hadn't bothered to comb today. Her lab coat had coffee stains from 3 days ago. None of that mattered now. After 15 years of research, countless failed attempts, and being mocked by half the scientific community, she had finally done it. She had built a working gravity manipulator. The door to her lab slid open, and Commander Ryan Ellis walked in. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a military posture that never quite relaxed even when he was off duty. His blue NASA uniform was perfectly pressed, as always. "Is it true?" he asked, his eyes immediately going to the device on the table. Dr. Ward nodded. "See for yourself." She handed him a small metal ball. "Hold this over the device, about 6 inches up." Commander Ellis did as instructed. At first, nothing happened. Then he felt a gentle tug on the ball, pulling it downward. He released it, expecting it to fall, but instead it hung in the air, perfectly still. "Now watch this," Dr. Ward said. She turned a small dial on her control pad. The ball began to rise slowly, then moved in a perfect circle before settling, back in Commander Ellis's open palm. "My God," he whispered. "You actually did it. You've created controlled artificial gravity." "Not just created it," Dr. Ward said with a tired smile. "I can manipulate it, increase it, decrease it, direct it, shape it. We're not just talking about simulating Earth's gravity on space stations anymore. This changes everything about space. Travel, colonization, construction, everything." Commander Ellis was about to respond when his communication device buzzed urgently. He frowned as he read the message. "You need to pack this up," he said, his voice suddenly serious. "We need to be in Washington in 3 hours." "What? Why?" "Because," Commander Ellis said, looking up from his device, "we're not alone in the universe anymore, and the President needs to know what you've discovered." NASA Administrator Kevin Powell stood nervously in the Oval Office, trying to explain the situation to the President of the United States. "They call themselves the Galactic Senate," he said. 8 ships appeared in orbit 90 minutes ago. They've made contact in over 30 languages, including English, and are requesting to speak with Earth's leadership. The President leaned forward in her chair. "And they're peaceful?" "They appear to be. It's a diplomatic mission. They say they're representatives from something called the Galactic Senate, a coalition of spacefaring civilizations. They want to invite humanity to join." The door opened and Dr. Ward entered with Commander Ellis and her device carefully packed in a secure case. "Ah, Dr. Ward," the President said. "I understand you have something that might be relevant to our current situation." Before Dr. Ward could answer, the large screen on the wall lit up. An alien face appeared. It had blue-gray skin, large oval eyes, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its mouth moved in an almost human way. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am High Counselor Zex Tara of the Araxian Empire and current chairperson of the Galactic Senate Diplomatic Corps. We come in peace and friendship." The President stood. "I am the President of the United States, one of Earth's nations. We welcome you and look forward to peaceful dialogue." Zex Tara nodded. "We have been observing your civilization for some time. You have reached a level of technology that qualifies you for initial contact and potential membership in our Senate. However, I must inform you that as a pre-FTL civilization, you would enter with junior status." "Pre-FTL?" the President asked. "Faster than light travel," Commander Ellis whispered. "They're saying we're technologically behind." The President nodded slightly. "We understand. We're eager to learn and contribute to this galactic community." "Excellent," Zex Tara said. "We will send a delegation to meet with your world leaders. In 48 hours, please select a suitable location for our discussions." After the communication ended, the room was silent for a moment. Administrator Powell cleared his throat. Madam President, before that meeting happens, I think you should know what Dr. Ward has developed. Dr. Ward carefully opened her case and explained her gravity manipulation technology. As she finished, a slow smile spread across the president's face. So these aliens think we're primitive because we don't have faster-than-light travel, she said. But we've developed something they might not have? It's possible, Dr. Ward said. Gravity manipulation at this level would be fundamental to advanced space travel. The president nodded. Then I think we should arrange a proper welcome for our new galactic friends, one that shows them humanity might have more to offer than they expect. 2 days later, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, representatives from Earth's nations gathered to meet the alien delegation. Dr. Ward sat nervously in the front row next to Commander Ellis and Administrator Powell. The air in the Dior center of the General Assembly Hall shimmered, and 7 figures appeared. 6 were clearly alien, different shapes, sizes, and colors. The 7th was High Counselor Zexitara. People of Earth, Zexitara said, his voice amplified throughout the hall. Today marks a historic moment for your world. The Galactic Senate welcomes you to the greater community of intelligent species. The Secretary General of the UN stepped forward. We are honored by your presence and your invitation. Earth has much to learn, but also much to share. Zexitara made a gesture that might have been a smile. Indeed, all new member species bring unique perspectives. However, as a Tier 7 civilization, you will first need to learn our ways. The Senate has established protocols for gradually introducing advanced technologies to developing worlds. Administrator Powell leaned over to the Secretary General and whispered something. After a brief exchange, the Secretary General nodded. High Counselor, she said, we appreciate your wisdom in these matters. However, we would like to offer a small demonstration of one of our own recent technological developments. Perhaps it might be of interest to the Senate. Zexitara looked surprised but nodded. Of course, we are always interested in the unique developments of each species. The Secretary General gestured toward Dr. Ward, who stood and walked forward with her device. Commander Ellis followed, carrying a case of demonstration materials. Honorable representatives of the Galactic Senate, Dr. Ward said, trying to keep her voice steady. My name is Dr. Allison Ward of NASA. I would like to show you something we've been working on. As she set up her equipment, she noticed the alien delegates watching with what seemed like polite disinterest. One leaned over to Zexitara and whispered, something that made the High Counselor chuckle. Dr. Ward took a deep breath. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could do. This, she said, placing her hand on the silver device, is a gravitational field manipulator, and this is what it can do. She pressed a button, and the world around them began to change. A month had passed since the first meeting with the aliens. The huge Senate vessel called the Celestial Concordance hung in orbit above Earth like a shining silver wheel. It was there that Susan Baker now spent most of her days, serving as Earth's diplomatic liaison to the various alien species. Susan was a quick learner. In just 4 weeks, she had memorized the names and basic customs of 14 different alien species. She was tall with curly red hair that fascinated many of the aliens, especially the hairless Meldorians. Today she wore her formal blue Earth diplomatic uniform as she walked through the curved hallways of the Senate ship. Good morning, Representative Krex, she said, nodding to a short, green-skinned alien with 4 arms. Greetings, human Susan, Krex replied in his musical voice. Are your people prepared for the formal introduction ceremony tomorrow? As ready as we'll ever be, Susan said with a smile. She continued down the hallway until she reached the meeting room where Ambassador Daniel Green was waiting. He was an older man with kind eyes and gray hair who had previously served as a top diplomat in difficult regions on Earth. Now he faced his greatest challenge, representing all of humanity to the galaxy. How are the preparations going? Susan asked as she sat down. Ambassador Green looked tired. Not good. I've just learned something troubling. He pulled out a small device and activated it. A bubble of silence formed around them. a privacy field created with technology the Meldorians had shared. The Araxians have classified us as a Tier 7 civilization, he said quietly. I know that, Susan replied. Pre-FTL status. Yes, but I've discovered what that really means. Each tier comes with different rights and privileges in the Senate. At Tier 7 we have almost no voting power and, this is the worst part, other species have the right to establish developmental outposts on our planet and in our solar system. Susan's eyes widened. You mean colonies? Resource extraction facilities is more accurate, Ambassador Green said grimly. I've seen the plans the Volturi Confederation has already drawn up. They want to mine the asteroid belt and set up bases on Mars, all perfectly legal under Senate law for a species of our tier. But that's not fair. We just joined. Exactly. And the classification system is supposedly based on technological achievement. He leaned forward. That's why Dr. Ward's demonstration tomorrow is so important. Gravity manipulation technology is classified as a Tier 3 achievement. If we can prove we have it, they'll have to reconsider our status. Susan nodded slowly. I understand now why the Araxians seem so interested in what she'll be showing. Interested isn't the word I'd use, Ambassador Green said. They're worried. If we jump from Tier 7 to Tier 3, it would change everything. Meanwhile, in a secure room elsewhere on the Celestial Concordance, Dr. Ward and her engineering team were setting up their equipment. Alan Martinez, her chief engineer, was carefully calibrating the gravity device. How's it looking? Dr. Ward asked. Alan gave a thumbs up. Better than in our lab on Earth. Something about the ship's power system is actually making it more stable. Laura Williams, their security chief, stood by the door watching everyone who passed in the hallway. She was a former military officer with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Dr. Ward, I need to speak with you, she said suddenly, her voice low and serious. Dr. Ward walked over and Laura showed her a small burnt circuit she had found under one of the tables. This isn't ours, Laura said. And it wasn't here an hour ago when I swept the room. Dr. Ward examined it. It looks like some kind of monitoring device. Or sabotage, Laura added. This is the third strange thing I've found this week. Those accidents we've been having? I don't think they're accidents. Dr. Ward looked around at her team, all humans working hard to prepare for tomorrow's demonstration. She had believed the aliens when they said they welcomed humanity into the galactic community. Now she wasn't so sure. Double the security checks, she told Laura. And don't let anyone in this room without my direct approval. High Counselor Zexitara sat in his private chamber with 3 other alien leaders. One was tall and thin with silvery skin, a Volturi diplomat named Renvax. Another was a floating cloud of purple gas contained in a transparent suit. The third looked almost human except for his completely black eyes. The humans are more advanced than we expected, Zextara said. Our initial scans missed many of their technological developments. It doesn't matter, Renvax replied. Their so-called gravity device is surely primitive. Perhaps they can create artificial gravity fields similar to what we use on our ships. Nothing remarkable, the gas cloud alien pulsed as it spoke. We should not underestimate them. Our observers report that the human scientist Ward is extraordinarily intelligent. Intelligence without proper training and resources means nothing, Zexitara said. It takes centuries to develop true gravity manipulation. These humans have barely mastered basic space travel. The human-like alien finally spoke. Either way, tomorrow's demonstration will settle the matter. If their technology is as primitive as we expect, we proceed with our plans for Earth's resources. If not, he shrugged, we adapt. The device must be examined after the demonstration, Zexitara insisted. To verify it uses actual gravity manipulation and not some trick. The others nodded in agreement. Back on Earth, in NASA's mission control, Administrator Kevin Powell was on a video call with the president. Dr. Ward's team is ready, he reported. The demonstration is set for tomorrow at what would be 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And you're confident in this technology? The president asked. Administrator Powell nodded. I've seen it work myself. It's revolutionary. The aliens have no idea what they're about to witness. Good, the president said. Because our intelligence agencies have intercepted some concerning communications between the Araxian and Volturi ships. They see Earth as a resource to be exploited, not an equal partner. After tomorrow, Powell said with a slight smile, they'll have to change their plans. I hope you're right, the president replied, for all our sakes. The video call ended, and Powell looked up at the large screen showing the Senate vessel orbiting Earth. Tomorrow would either be the beginning of humanity's rise among the stars, or the beginning of their subjugation. Everything depended on Dr. Ward and her gravity device. On the Celestial Concordance, Dr. Ward finally stepped back from her work. The device was ready. Small and unassuming, it sat on a pedestal in the center of the room. Tomorrow, she would show the galaxy what humans could really do. Get some rest, she told her team. Tomorrow we make history. As they left the room, she placed her hand gently on the device. All her life's work, all of humanity's hopes, now rested on this moment. The aliens thought humans were primitive. By this time tomorrow, they would think very differently. The great Senate chamber was unlike anything humans had ever built. The ceiling arched so high it seemed to disappear. The walls curved in a perfect circle, with raised platforms arranged like steps going up all around. Each platform held representatives from different alien worlds. Susan Baker counted 89 different species as she entered the chamber. Dr. Ward walked slowly behind Ambassador Green, carrying her gravity device in a simple metal case. Commander Ellis and Laura Williams followed closely, watching for any threats. The rest of the human team sat in a section reserved for Earth, the newest member of the galactic community. Impressive, isn't it? Ambassador Green whispered to Dr. Ward. Representatives from 89 different worlds all gathered in one place. Dr. Ward nodded, but her mind was on the demonstration ahead. She had checked her device 10 times that morning. Everything was ready, but she still felt nervous. This wasn't just about science anymore. It was about humanity's future. High Counselor Zexatara stood at the center of the chamber on a floating platform. His voice echoed through the vast space. Esteemed members of the Galactic Senate, today we formally welcome the newest civilization to join our ranks, the humans of planet Earth. A mix of sounds filled the chamber, clicks, hums, and other noises that seemed to be applause from the various aliens. As is tradition, Zexatara continued, our new members will demonstrate their most advanced technological achievement. This allows us to properly classify their civilization tier and determine their rights and responsibilities within our community. He turned to look directly at the human delegation. I must remind everyone that Earth is currently classified as a tier in civilization. This is typical for species who have just reached beyond their own atmosphere, but have not yet mastered faster-than-light travel. There were some noises that sounded like laughter from several sections of the chamber. Now, Zexatara said, with what seemed to be a smile, let us see what achievement the humans wish to share with us. Ambassador Green stepped forward. Honorable representatives of the Galactic Senate, on behalf of Earth, I thank you for welcoming us into your community. We are eager to learn from your wisdom and experience. He paused, looking around the chamber. We understand that we are new to the stars. Our ships have only reached our own moon and nearby planets, but humans have always looked to the sky with wonder and worked to understand the forces that shape our universe. He gestured to Dr. Ward. Today, Dr. Allison Ward will demonstrate one such understanding, our recent breakthrough in gravity manipulation technology. A wave of murmurs spread through the chamber. From the Araxian section, there were sounds that seemed like scoffs of disbelief. Dr. Ward walked to the center of the chamber where a demonstration area had been prepared. She placed her case on a table and opened it carefully. Inside was her device, small, silver, with blue lights pulsing gently. She connected it to a power source and activated the control panel. Esteemed representatives, she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. Gravity is the force that binds us to our worlds, shapes the paths of stars, and holds galaxies together. For centuries, humans have studied this force. She pressed a button on her device, and a soft hum filled the air. First, I will demonstrate a simple gravity lens. The air above the device began to shimmer. Light bent around an invisible sphere, creating rainbow patterns that danced across the chamber walls. This is merely a distortion of light, called out a voice from the Volturi section. Not true gravity manipulation, Dr. Ward nodded. A fair observation. Let me continue. She adjusted the controls. The shimmering sphere expanded until it was about 3 meters in diameter. Ambassador Green, if you would assist me? Ambassador Green stepped into the sphere. As he did, his feet lifted off the floor. He floated in the air, completely weightless. As you can see, Dr. Ward explained, I have created a zero-gravity field. Not simulated, but actual nullification of gravitational force. The chamber grew quieter. What had seemed like bored disinterest from many aliens now shifted to cautious attention. Interesting, Zexitara admitted. But localized gravity nullification is still only a Tier 5 technology. Of course, Dr. Ward said with a slight smile. That was just the beginning. She turned another dial on her device. Ambassador Green slowly descended to the floor. Then, to the surprise of everyone watching, he began to rise up again. But this time, his feet remained firmly on the ground. The key floor beneath him was rising, pushed upward by an invisible force. I am now creating a repulsive gravity field, Dr. Ward explained, pushing against the ship's standard gravity. She adjusted the controls again. The raised section of floor returned to normal, but now small objects from around the demonstration area, markers, a water bottle, a data pad, began to orbit around a point in the air. And here we have a controlled attractive gravity field, independent of any large mass. The objects moved faster, then slower as she adjusted the controls. Then they split into 2 distinct groups, orbiting 2 separate points. Multiple simultaneous gravity wells, each independently controlled. The silence in the chamber was complete now. Even Zexitara seemed frozen in shock. For her final demonstration, Dr. Ward placed 5 metal balls on the table. With careful adjustments to her device, she caused the balls to rise and arrange themselves in a complex spinning pattern, a miniature model of an atom, with balls orbiting at different speeds and distances around a central point. Full 3-dimensional gravity manipulation, she said simply, with precise control at molecular scales. She shut down the device, and the balls dropped to the table with a clatter that echoed through the silent chamber. Admiral Ellis, watching from the side, could not help but smile at the stunned faces of the aliens, even without understanding their expressions perfectly. The shock was clear enough. Ambassador Green returned to the center of the chamber. As you can see, he said calmly, humanity has indeed developed gravity manipulation technology. We believe this would qualify as a Tier 3 achievement, according to your own classification system. High Counselor Zexitara seemed to struggle for words. This is unexpected. The device must be examined by our scientists to verify. Of course, Ambassador Green agreed. Dr. Ward will be happy to explain the principles to your scientific experts, though I should mention that the device contains several patented technologies that Earth considers proprietary. Susan Baker, watching from the Earth section, saw the Araxian and Volturi representatives huddled in urgent conversation. Other alien groups seemed to be in similar discussions. The calm, somewhat condescending atmosphere from the beginning of the session had completely vanished. Zexitara finally regained his composure. This session will recess for 1 hour while the Council discusses this development. As the aliens filed out of the chamber, Commander Ellis approached Dr. Ward. Well done, he said quietly. I think you just changed humanity's future. Dr. Ward smiled, but her eyes remained serious. Let's hope it's for the better. The Senate chamber erupted into chaos when the session resumed. Aliens from different worlds shouted and gestured at each other. Some pointed at the human delegation. Others huddled in small groups, talking quickly and quietly. Ambassador Green and Dr. Ward sat calmly watching the scene unfold. Behind them, Commander Ellis spoke quietly into his communication device, updating NASA Administrator Powell about the situation. Finally, High Counselor Zexitera raised his hands for silence. The chamber gradually quieted down. After discussion with the council, he announced, "We have decided that a team of our most skilled scientists will examine the human gravity device. Until their findings are confirmed, no change in Earth's status will be made." A tall, thin alien with 4 arms stood up from the Meldorian section. This was Representative Krex, who had been friendly to Susan Baker during her time on the station. "I object," Krex said, his musical voice carrying across the chamber. "We all witnessed the demonstration. There can be no doubt that the humans have achieved gravity manipulation far beyond what we expected. According to our own laws, this achievement alone qualifies them for at least Tier 3 status." Another alien, this one from the Volturi section, rose to speak. "The demonstration could have been a trick, some kind of magnetic system designed to look like gravity manipulation. We need proper verification." Ambassador Green stood up. "Earth welcomes any scientific examination, provided our own scientists are present and our technology is respected. But we also ask for fair treatment under Senate law. If our gravity manipulation meets Tier 3 standards, we expect to be classified accordingly." For several hours the debate continued. Some species supported Earth's immediate reclassification. Others, particularly the Araxians and Volturi, argued for caution. In the end, a compromise was reached. Earth would remain classified as Tier 7 for now, but no species could establish any presence in the Earth system until after the full examination of the gravity device. As they left the chamber, Susan Baker approached Ambassador Green. "Is this good or bad for us?" she asked quietly. "It's a temporary victory," he replied. "They can't start mining our asteroid belt yet. But I'm concerned about the examination. The Araxians and Volturi will look for any excuse to dismiss our technology." Dr. Ward joined them. "Don't worry about the examination. The science is solid. There's no trick for them to uncover." She paused, then added, "What worries me is getting home safely with the device." Commander Ellis overheard this last comment. "You think there's a danger?" "After what we saw today?" Dr. Ward said. "Absolutely. Some of those aliens looked furious that humans have this technology. If I were them, I'd try to steal it." Commander Ellis nodded grimly. "I'll arrange for extra security on our trip back to Earth." 2 days later, the human delegation prepared to return home aboard their ship, the Endeavor. The examination of Dr. Ward's device had been completed, but the results would not be announced for several more days. Dr. Ward was in her cabin with her colleague, Dr. Paul Johnson. He was a weapons specialist who had been working on military applications of the gravity technology. "Did you bring the prototype?" she asked. Dr. Johnson nodded and opened a small case. Inside was a device similar to Dr. Ward's but smaller and with a more streamlined design. "It's ready," he said. "I hope we don't need it." "So do I," she replied. "But after what Laura found out, we need to be prepared." Laura Williams, their security chief, had discovered that 3 different alien groups had tried to access the human quarters during the past week. One attempt had been made while Dr. Ward was at the official examination. A voice came over the ship's communication system. It was Captain Eric Mitchell, the commander of the Endeavor. "All personnel prepare for departure. We leave in 30 minutes. Dr. Ward secured her gravity device in its special container. Dr. Johnson did the same with his prototype. They both knew how important it was to get these devices safely back to Earth. In his private chamber on the Senate station, High Counselor Zextara met with Renvax, the Volturi diplomat. "The humans must not be allowed to reach Earth with that technology," Renvax said angrily. "Our plans for mining their system would be ruined if they achieve Tier 3 status." Zexitera looked troubled. "What are you suggesting? We cannot attack their ship directly. It would violate Senate law." Renvax smiled coldly. "Not us. But there are independent operators who might be interested in acquiring advanced technology. Pirates, you might call them. The Senate would investigate any attack on a member species," Zexitera warned. "Only if they could prove who was responsible," Renvax replied. Besides, we don't need to destroy their ship. We just need to get that gravity device. After a long pause, Zexitara nodded slowly. Make the arrangements. But I know nothing about this. The Endeavor had just passed Mars when the attack came. 3 small, fast ships appeared from behind the red planet. They moved quickly, surrounding the human vessel. Captain Mitchell's voice came over the ship's communication system. All hands to emergency stations. We have unknown vessels approaching with hostile intent. In the ship's command center, the captain watched as the alien ships moved closer. Open a channel, he ordered. A voice responded, harsh and scratchy. Human vessel, power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. We only want the gravity technology. Cooperate and no one will be harmed. Captain Mitchell looked at Commander Ellis, who had joined him in the command center. Options? The captain asked. We can't outrun them, Commander Ellis said. And our weapons are defensive only. They weren't designed for space combat. The captain nodded grimly. Then we have no choice but to... He was interrupted by Dr. Ward and Dr. Johnson, who rushed into the command center. We have another option, Dr. Ward said. She placed a hand on Dr. Johnson's prototype case. We can fight back. 20 minutes later, the 3 alien ships moved in closer to the Endeavor, which appeared to be drifting helplessly in space. The largest ship extended a docking tube toward the human vessel. Inside the Endeavor, Dr. Ward and Dr. Johnson worked quickly to set up their prototype device in the airlock near the area where the aliens would try to enter. Ready? Dr. Johnson asked, his finger hovering over the activation button. Dr. Ward nodded. Ready? He pressed the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the device hummed to life, its blue lights pulsing faster and faster. Outside, in the cold vacuum of space, an invisible force suddenly pushed against the approaching alien ships. At first, they seemed confused, their engines firing as they tried to maintain position. Then the force grew stronger. The ships were pushed farther and farther away from the Endeavor, tumbling out of control. The largest ship, which had extended its docking tube, suffered the worst damage. The tube snapped under the sudden strain, causing an explosive decompression that damaged one of its engines. In the Endeavor's command center, Captain Mitchell watched in amazement as the alien ships retreated, one of them trailing debris. What did you do? He asked Dr. Ward when she returned to the command center. We created a repulsive gravity field, she explained, like the one I demonstrated in the Senate, but much stronger. It pushed them away without us having to fire a single shot. Commander Ellis smiled. A gravity weapon, completely non-lethal but extremely effective. And proof, if anyone needed it, Ambassador Green added, that our gravity technology is very real. The Endeavor continued its journey back to Earth. Behind them, the 3 damaged alien ships limped away, and somewhere on the Senate station, High Counselor Zexitara was about to receive some very bad news. 6 months had passed since the attack on the Endeavor. Earth had changed in that short time. New buildings with strange gravity-defying designs now dotted major cities. Small vehicles that floated without wings or rotors traveled between them. And in orbit, construction had begun on Earth's first true space station, one that used gravity manipulation to create Earth-like conditions for its inhabitants. Dr. Ward stood at the window of the newly built Galactic Technology Summit Center in Geneva. Representatives from 22 alien species would arrive today for the first conference hosted by humans. She watched as a transport ship landed gently in the courtyard, using gravity fields instead of traditional thrusters. Nervous? Commander Ellis asked, joining her at the window. He was now Admiral Ellis, promoted after the incident near Mars. A little, Dr. Ward admitted. It's not every day you present revolutionary technology to beings from other stars. You've done it before, he reminded her with a smile. That was different. That was proving ourselves. This is sharing. After the Endeavor had returned safely to Earth, recordings of the pirate attack had been sent to the Galactic Senate. The evidence was clear. The human gravity technology was real, and someone had tried to steal it. The Senate had no choice. but to reclassify Earth as a Tier 3 civilization. With that new status came new rights and respect. Earth could not be exploited for its resources. Earth ships could travel freely through certain parts of Senate space. And most importantly, Earth could choose which technologies to share with other species. Today's summit was part of that sharing process, but only with species that had proven themselves to be friends to humanity. The main doors opened, and Susan Baker entered with Representative Krex from the Meldorian Republic. "Dr. Ward," Krex said, extending all four of his arms in a Meldorian greeting, "it is an honor to see you again. Your technology has caused quite a revolution in Senate thinking." "Thank you, Representative," Dr. Ward replied. "I hope today's summit will lead to beneficial exchanges for all our peoples." More aliens arrived over the next hour. Some were familiar from the Senate meeting. Others were new, scientists and engineers eager to learn about gravity manipulation and to share their own technological advances. Notably absent were the Araxians and the Volturi. After the attack on the Endeavor, Earth had filed a formal complaint with the Senate. While no direct connection to the governments could be proven, both species had been barred from Earth space pending a full investigation. NASA Administrator Powell opened the summit with a short speech. 6 months ago, humanity demonstrated that we are more advanced than many in the galaxy assumed. Today, we demonstrate something equally important: our willingness to collaborate and share knowledge for the betterment of all. The summit proceeded smoothly. Dr. Ward and her team explained the basic principles of gravity manipulation. The alien scientists asked questions, offered suggestions, and shared related technologies from their own worlds. During a break, Ambassador Green pulled Dr. Ward aside. "We just received an urgent message," he said quietly. "The Araxian and Volturi fleets are on the move. They've ignored Senate warnings and are heading toward our solar system." Dr. Ward felt her stomach tighten. "How many ships?" 17. Heavy cruisers and destroyers. "What about the Senate? Aren't they going to stop this?" Ambassador Green shook his head. "The Senate is divided. Some species support us, but others are concerned about our rapid technological growth. They fear what humans might become in the future." Dr. Ward understood. In just 6 months, humans had taken gravity manipulation from a laboratory curiosity to a technology that transformed their world. Who knew what they might develop in 10 years? Or 50? "What's our plan?" she asked. "Admiral Ellis is coordinating with the UN Security Council. They want you and Dr. Johnson to join an emergency meeting in 1 hour." The meeting took place in a secure underground room. UN Secretary General Olivia Scott presided, with military leaders from several nations in attendance. On screens around the room, political leaders from around the world watched and listened. "The alien fleet will reach our system in 3 days," Admiral Ellis explained. "Our ships are no match for their weapons." "But our gravity technology might be," Dr. Johnson said. He activated a holographic display showing Earth surrounded by small dots. "For the past 4 months, we've been secretly deploying gravity satellites throughout the system. Each one contains a modified version of Dr. Ward's device." Dr. Ward stepped forward. "Together, these satellites can create a gravity shield around Earth and the Moon. Any ship trying to approach would be pushed away, just like the pirates who attacked the Endeavor." "Will it work against 17 warships?" Secretary General Scott asked. "In theory, yes," Dr. Ward replied, "but we've never tested it on this scale." After much discussion, the decision was made. Earth would activate its gravity defense system when the alien fleet arrived. At the same time, a message would be sent to the Senate explaining their actions. 3 days later, the Araxian and Volturi ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They moved quickly toward Earth, weapons ready. In Geneva, the technology summit continued, though with an undercurrent of tension. Everyone knew about the approaching fleet. Some of the alien representatives had offered to help, but their own ships were too few to make a difference. Dr. Ward stood with Admiral Ellis and Ambassador Green in the Earth Defense Command Center. On a large screen, they watched as the alien fleet approached Mars. "They're entering the defense perimeter," an officer announced. Admiral Ellis gave the order. Activate the gravity shield. Around Earth, hundreds of satellites came to life. Invisible waves of gravitational force spread outward, linking together to form a barrier around the planet. The alien fleet hit this barrier at high speed. Their ships suddenly slowed as if pushing against a strong wind. The largest ships fired their engines at maximum power, trying to break through. But the more force they applied, the stronger the repulsive gravity field became. After an hour of futile effort, the alien ship stopped. A message came through to Earth. High Counselor Zexatera's face appeared on the screen. He looked angry but also somewhat impressed. "It seems we have underestimated humans once again," he said. "Your gravity technology is even more advanced than we thought." Ambassador Green stepped forward. "High Counselor, Earth has no desire for conflict. We have proven we can defend ourselves. Now we invite you to join us in peaceful cooperation." The Araxian Empire does not cooperate with lesser species, Zexatara replied coldly. "Then perhaps it's time for new leadership in the Senate," a new voice said. Representative Krex appeared on another screen, along with leaders from a dozen other alien civilizations. "The Senate has voted," Krex announced. "Earth is now officially recognized as a Tier 2 civilization with special technological distinction. Any attack on their world would be considered an act of war against the entire Senate." Zexatara's face showed shock, then anger, and finally resignation. "Very well," he said. "We will withdraw. But this is not over." The alien fleet slowly turned and moved away from Earth. In the command center, cheers erupted. Admiral Ellis shook Dr. Ward's hand. "Congratulations," he said. "You've changed history." Dr. Ward smiled. "This is just the beginning. Imagine what we'll achieve now that we have access to the knowledge of dozens of alien civilizations." As the celebration continued around her, Dr. Ward looked at the screen showing the departing alien ships. Humanity had proven itself today. They had shown the galaxy that despite being newcomers to the stars, humans were a force to be respected. In a small office nearby, Dr. Johnson was already working on his next project, combining gravity manipulation with faster-than-light travel. If humans could develop gravity technology in a fraction of the time it took other species, who knew what else they might achieve? The galaxy would never be the same again.